over here. Yeah! We're trying to get into this.
Catch it!
Yeah, baby. Come on.
Yes!
Hey!
Great start, boys.
You're on camera, Blair. You're on camera. Get him. Daniel, you are the man now.
Catch it! Yes! Here we go. Catch it! Yes, boy!
Beautiful. Well done, boys. Get up.
Yes, yes. Yeah!
Well, welcome to Between Two Taniwha episode number 3, Vorney.
Yeah.
We've got it to 3. No one expected us to get this far.
No.
Hopefully a little bit more professional this week after their so-called winging it episode last week. But
I'm still winging it.
oh yeah, I suppose it is the wings will be, isn't it? I mean, but yeah, well, this week we thought it'd be a good idea to actually play the highlights first up, so that people.
That's because Cam wasn't ready.
Well, that's
But,
true. Yeah, Cam was ready, so we play the highlights first up. But it does give people who may not have seen the highlights a good chance to actually see what we are talking about before we actually talk about it, which is a bonus.
Yeah.
So we might as well crack on straight into it, shall we?
Why not?
Well, again, unfortunately, this week we didn't have 2 games because at the umpteenth our Wairo was defaulted to.
Yeah.
Which
Victory.
Yeah, well, it's a victory, but it's not one, of course, anyone really wanted. It's 3-4 points, and I will take the points, but at the end of the day, people want to play for those points, don't they? But yeah, apparently the excuse that was given wasn't the best one. But hey, look, we just have to move on and deal with it. So hey, look, it's another 3-4 points. It might make the difference at the end of the season. You never know.
Yeah.
But of course, in saying that, Toa did have another cracking game. Started off with the fact that Dan Squire actually won a toss finally.
Yeah.
And as a result, decided he wanted to bat first, which is generally the case when Dan Squire wins the toss.
Yeah.
Because
Doesn't mean he's there to bat.
he's there to bat. Yeah, I mean, and that's generally what happens when you're a batsman and a captain at the same time, right?
Yeah.
You want to bat first. So that started off well. And the first thing he said, okay, we need to make 200. So, well, and I mean, look, it's certainly something with the team that we've got, and we haven't really been able to show the real strength of our batting because we've batted second all the time in terms of Toa at least. And sure enough, in doing that, we did actually score 200, which was very good. It was very entertaining to watch. Dan, another stellar performance from him with a very well made 67 in the end. And in fact, everyone really contributed that batted. I know that Tomo finally had his first outing of the year.
Yeah.
Ended up with a very good 18 not out, even though I know he wasn't entirely happy with his innings. He certainly did it very, very well, considering it is his first hit out of the season and the first game back that he's had in a while. So, I mean, ultimately, the innings was very good. Dev got a bit unlucky. Ended up in the 67 club again with Mr. Squire, but got run out, and probably one of the best run outs I've seen for a while. Hit it straight to the fielder down at deep long on. Thought he was home and away because it had run away, but got complacent and the throw was very good and hit the base of the stumps and he was out by quite a while. But overall, 201, pretty substantial score, to be honest. I mean, Ian Galloway, you'd expect sort of nothing really below about 160 Ian Galloway, to be honest with how big it is. And I know certainly with us batting first, a lot of us wouldn't expect much below 200 with the batting strength we've got. And then ultimately, when it came to the bowling side, everyone contributed really well. As Benji found out, that you actually bowl shit, you take wickets, which we've been trying to tell them for years. And as I say, as people say to me, how do you get those wickets? I said, how do you think I've got 50 wickets? I've bowled like shit and people can't play it and I get wickets. So I can't help it.
Yeah.
And as Benji's found, he bowls well, he gets 1 for 9. I mean, yes, in terms, as we were talking about on Wednesday, it does depend on the game situation. And we were discussing, would you take 3 for 30 or would you take 1 for 9? And I suppose it comes down to the game situation. A lot of bowlers would say we'll take the 3 for 30 because it's the wickets we want. But it depends on how selfish you want to be as a bowler.
I'm always the 1 for 9.
You're always the 1 for 9. Yeah. I mean, look, as I say, it does come down to the game situation, and I would even take no wickets for barely any runs over lots of wickets for a lot of runs. But game situation, and of course, I will mention good old Zippy. Zano had his first match for the Taniwha. Even though he didn't pick up any wickets, took a fantastic catch off guys bowling. And actually bowled really well, considering for his first outing. Did certainly challenge the batsman. Definitely, once he got the first few balls out of the way, was certainly challenging with pace and accuracy.
Yeah, well, that's half the issue. You go too quick, you're not going to get hit, not going to get wickets.
Well, that's it, and that's the thing. I think when you look at him compared to other people in the grade, he's certainly one of the quicker bowlers in the grade once he gets going.
Yeah.
But it just gets to the point where they can't catch up to him. So unless he attacks the stumps, you're not going to get anywhere in this grade.
That's when they magically learn how to use their bat.
Oh, exactly. But in saying that, the same problem is you can throw your hands at it, take a thick edge, and it's gone for 6.
Yeah.
So, because we play on the tiniest of ground.
That's usually why I'm a deep third man.
Yeah, deep third man, deep fine leg.
It's sort of like a catching slip down there.
Well, if you're playing on Grenada North top pitches, they basically are a catching slip because the boundary is about 3.5 metres long down that end. But ultimately, we did probably end up. Well, they only had 10 in the end, so we only had to take 9 wickets. We were going on a good pace. It actually ended up probably closer than it probably could have been. Let one of their more senior batsmen in their side get a little bit on top of us at one stage, and then there was a period of where they put on about 50 runs where no wicket fell, and then once he was out, the rest of it sort of fell over, and we ended up with a 68-run win and kept the unbeaten streak alive. So overall, it was a really good game, and I will actually give a shout out to one of the members of the Stubbies because as we found out rather early on in their first innings that it was his first ever game of cricket, and he actually, I can't remember his name, so I do apologise if any. Harry, that's right. Okay, thank you very much, Cam Rowe. He actually for his very first game did very well. Had 2 very tough catching chances, which he did put down, but put his body on the line, actually did a lot of effort, and then ended up on 1 not out in his very first match. Got a little bit lucky. Tomo did put him down, but fairness to Tomo, it was a very hard catch. But then, unfortunately, BT was just too good for the other end and cleaned up, so he didn't get a chance to face another ball.
I mean, not that's what you want at the end.
Well,
exactly.
Average. I mean, I'll take a not out any day of the week. It doesn't matter how many runs I get. Runs are very few and far between.
All adds up, and then at the end of the season, you can say you're averaging 50.
Yeah, exactly, and it doesn't matter. You can score. It's just like as I'll say again, and everyone hates me talking about it, but the 6 and the 600 strike rate. I mean, I'll take that. So, but no, he did do very well considering. And it sounds like we're having more technical issues according to Cam Rowe, but hey, look, it is a very amateur podcast. Well, it could be that too. That's another possibility. As we now look to Cam Rowe, who's now scrambling around behind the desk.
Let's cut away to Dan's edit from...
Well, yeah, we will do this as we now have to look at this edit because it is very funny. Just to keep, as player umpires like to do, to completely dishearten the bowlers and just just basically break hearts. And this is a good example of this, and a very good edit to emphasise it by Dan Squire, who I do say has a bit too much time on his hands.
How about new? How about new?
So, yeah, another classic example of complete heartbreak. And I think, again, that is another look, as we were talking last week, another sign of a bowler who comes every single week just to get turned down. And I mean, look, I will give all credit to Harry, because anybody who'd come up to me and say, "Oh, I'd like to take up cricket," I would still recommend don't do it, because it's not worth the emotional heartbreak.
Oh no, not the hundreds of dollars every season and the thousands you put into equipment.
Oh, exactly. Only to go along every Saturday, run around a pitch, get turned down, and end up sunburnt with no cigar.
Or you've got the team structure of our third 11 team, where we got constant batting opportunities because the
Well, that's right.
first 10 batsmen got out rather cheaply for
That's
30,
right.
chasing 200 odd.
I certainly remember the years of ending up going and bowling my limit of overs, going for a lot, and then we face down the barrel of chasing 260, and the top order falls over for about 40 runs, and then it's up to the last three batsmen to try and score 200. And I remember that all too well. And yeah, it's just not worth the emotion. And then you end up with the case like I did in my second to last year of college, where you bat 11 and don't bowl, and you, same principle, you spend all this money to go along, and you field fine leg to fine leg, bat 11, don't bowl. And yeah, so to anyone who is thinking about taking up cricket, with all the sincerity in the world, just don't do it. Just don't do it. There is far more other fun sports out there to play on a Saturday than cricket. We do it because we've been doing it for so long, and eventually we think we might get somewhere with it.
Yeah. And we just hate ourselves.
And we just hate ourselves too much. I think that's exactly right. But yeah, again, to a final overview recap of Saturday, we have ended up, of course, still with Toa unbeaten. Coming up to this week, of course, are the last two games coming up this week and next week for this half of the season. So, of course, with the run into Christmas. And both teams back at home this week. Of course, we've got Wairoa at Adventure Park, and Toa is out at the Fortress. And looking...
That's their away game, though, isn't it?
Well, it's the funny thing, is that it's listed as an away game, but yet they're playing out in Ngāti Toa. I've never really understood how Cricket Wellington schedules their matches. I think I do remember a third 11 match back a few years ago, we played an upper hut team and we got stuck at McAllister Park, which made no entire sense to me at all. It's an upper hut team and a team from Porirua, and we're playing in the arsehole of Wellington, which made no sense to me at all. But hey, we're not complaining, because we have, as we've seen, we do pretty well at Ngāti Toa number 3 as of late. But yes, and this team, of course, as Tomo has pointed out, is the pitches. They've just moved clubs, changed names, but we kind of do know what to expect from them. So that should be a pretty reasonable game. And of course, hopefully Wairoa can get a game in this week. I mean, we all know Adventure Park can be a bit of an interesting pitch to play on, mainly the outfield. But I think it should be good, and I know all the players are very much raring to go to get another match in before Christmas is out. And I know especially Toa would be like to get 2 more wins before this half of the season's done, because there is a bye first week back for Toa. But we'll cover that more so in the next half of the season once we're back after Christmas. But I think this does lead us in quite well into the topic that I think everyone has sort of been thinking about after we've now had a second incidence of this happening on the weekend. And that is the waist high no ball saga, which every single week we seem to run into a problem with it. Yep. Of course, you've now been victim of one, and Crocky was victim of one on the weekend as well.
I mean, the solution is just to bowl it on the deck.
Well, I mean, but that's what everyone says, right? It's just is to just actually pitch the ball, right? And that's why we go to training, to pitch the ball. But for some reason, we just bowl grenades half the time.
Shit gets wicked.
Well, that's it.
Or
It
does
do-
it in this
well,
case.
it does it in this case, exactly. So I thought, and I know, I think Zippy did actually ask the question and say, can we have a discussion on what happens in the case where there's a waist high full toss that hits the stumps? Because there's some consensus that believe that if it hits the stumps, it overrides the waist high no ball ruling. Now, I don't know if Cam's actually got this handy at the moment, but we did manage to dig out the official.
Oh, I don't have that.
Well, you didn't save that. Oh, okay. Well, we did dig out the official.
What do we have?
What do we have? I did send it through.
All the videos.
Oh, you got the videos. Okay. Well, we'll play the video footage in a second, but we did dig out the official ruling on it, and the ruling basically is that any ball that is adjudged over waist height
Yep.
is considered a no ball regardless, and the only way a batsman can be out is in the standard ways: run out. I think it's obstructing the field, and there's one more I can't remember what it is. So basically, if
Pissed off the umpire.
yeah, exactly. So basically, if it hits the stumps and it's a waist high no ball, the no ball stands. It doesn't override.
But I think it's important to note it's a waist high in a normal stance.
In a normal stance.
Not on one leg.
No, not on one leg, and not laying on your face, which is in pretty much the case where your one was. So in the case of Crocky's one on the weekend, which we'll play the video of this one in a second. We can see, even though it was borderline, and I think it was discussed in the chat afterwards, I think no ball was probably the right call when you look at it close up and slow motion. But which once, if depending on where Cam is with this, we can either play that or I'll also we can
mention it a few times.
yeah. So we may as well do it, and then I'll lead on to the second part, which I found in the information, which is rather interesting.
Excellent.
Sorry, we've just had another technical issue. But as you can see in that video, it is very close. I will say it is very close, but I think ultimately it probably was the right call in this case, even though he was lunging. But it's actually interesting because the second part of that ruling, which is an interesting one, because a lot of people think that it's actually the square leg umpire that has the decision on a waist high no ball. According to the official rules, that's not actually the case. It's actually the bowler's end umpire has the ruling on it. The only time the square leg gets involved is when there's any uncertainty.
It's not It's only an uncertainty. There's nothing that forces the bowling umpire to say, hey, what do you think, mate? He can decide at any point.
He can decide at any point, exactly. And I believe sometimes that can come into account if I think there can be some discussion involved regarding is it dangerous as well. It's a bit like with the rulings that they had on the Cricket World Cup, where it says the only time a umpire can refer upstairs to review a no ball is if again they're uncertain.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think it's interesting when you look at international cricket where you always see the bowlers and umpires calling the no balls.
Yeah.
So it certainly was interesting, and I think it's pretty clear there's not really much in terms of sorry, we're just having some squirming around on the floor from Cam. Cam Rowe the worm. I don't think there's definitely no uncertainty and no, what's the word, indiscretions around what the waist high no ball is. It's definitely a definitive ruling, according to the rules. Anything above waist height in a batsman normal stance is a no ball.
I mean, the only one that was sort of vague was whether it's dangerous or not, which one of the sections was, player skill, which for most of our bowlers, shall we say, spinner bouncing the ball or chucking that ball is considered a dangerous ball.
Yeah, well,
based on
exactly,
our skill levels.
exactly. I think if you're saying that any batsman in this sort of grade below about 5 would be considered that anything above sort of here is a dangerous ball,
Yep.
no matter what the ball is. So that was certainly interesting, and that's one that I hadn't really seen before. I hadn't actually realised that was the case, where you have to take the batsman's skill into account as to whether the ball is dangerous or not. But of course, the other time that I think some people do get confused is when the batsman moves as well, especially coming out of their crease. And I have seen some cases in the past playing club cricket where batsmen have charged the ball or come out of their crease and it's still been called a no ball. But they don't take into account the trajectory of the ball.
Yeah, so sort of, if you're going to be square leg umpire this weekend, it's sort of more, pay attention to how the batsman's standing before anything else happens, and go, okay, that's roughly where his waistline is, and so any ball that's going to be above there when he was standing in his crease or next to his crease or wherever
is where
that's the no ball
that's
mark.
no ball mark. And so I think, generally it is, and I can actually understand too, in some cases why they say the bowlers in umpire calls it, because a lot of the time they do actually have, in some ways, a slightly better view of the height, but sometimes not necessarily where it passes the batsman.
Yeah.
But I do think in saying that there probably should be some more discussions in club cricket between bowlers end umpires and square leg umpires. But I think the problem is that
yes and no.
Yeah.
I've seen many a team where the inexperienced square leg umpire has been bullied into giving a no ball by the bowlers end umpire.
That's true. Well, that is true. And actually, to be fair,
not that he needed to bully him. He could have made the call himself.
Well, exactly.
As it turns out.
And this has also been, in case of player umpiring, batsmen doing exactly the same thing, which was somewhat the case a little bit on the weekend as well with Crocky's one, because both square leg and bowler's end were firmly like this, and then the batsman's kind of turned to square leg and gone, huh? And batsman square leg's gone, okay. So I think too, batsmen, especially with club cricket and player umpires, tend to have quite a large influence on it, which is probably they shouldn't. And I think just in general, I think player umpires need to have a bit more confidence in their decisions, and if they're happy, at the end of the day, their decision goes. So if they're happy with it, they stand with it, no matter how much it pisses people off. So I think there probably needs to be more confidence, if anything, out of player umpires. And I know people hate doing it, because I know every Saturday it's always the same people that do it, and then when they wave for another umpire, no one puts their hands up for it. And I will admit, it's not an easy job. It's not easy, because pretty much every call you make, you get bullied by someone.
Yep, you give them out, mate, that was fucking missing.
Yep. Or in the case of one match, I think we played out at Nainai 1 year with Smokes Valley, good old Smokes Valley. Played against Stokes Valley. Roshi goes out there and gets pinned dead in front. I give him, and he walks up to me and he goes, "How out was it?" I said, "Very." And he goes, "Okay," and walks off. I've never had a batsman come out and ask me how out it was before. Usually it's, "How was that out?" But I think Roshi was a special case, to be honest, because I do miss playing with him, because he was a very entertaining person to watch bat. But that was certainly a very, very funny situation.
Let's go to a commercial break for a second.
Oh, here we go again. Far out. And we were winging it last week, and now we were supposed to be professional this week, and it's certainly not as professional as it was from the IT department.
Microphone issues.
Microphone issues.
We'll be back in a second.
Blame the equipment. Okay.
Whoa!
Well, apparently our technical issues are now completed. I don't know. Cam's. Oh no, we're not.
Let's watch the shorts again.
Okay, this is. We do apologise for this. We thought this was going to be a lot smoother this week.
Do you need to be out of the arse, Mike?
That sounds better.
Oh, okay. But of course, just a quick question: have you fed the cats, Morning?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you haven't fed the cats. Oh dear, that's not good. So, I think in terms of that, I think in all we can play a couple of clear examples of it, and I did include one from an international game where the batsman has actually chopped it on to the stumps. I think it was a South Africa-Pakistan match. But I think Cam probably, judging by the face he's just made, didn't save that video.
He's on the phone ignoring you now.
No, just currently it's glitching on upstairs.
Oh, it's glitching upstairs. Oh, okay.
That's right.
No, that doesn't matter. But it basically, to make a long story short, doesn't matter if it hits the stumps. Doesn't matter if it, if anything happens, it's only the standard 3 ways or 4 ways that you can get out in the case of a no ball. So if it hits the stumps, no, it's not out. The no ball ruling still stands. That's right. I remember the last one. The last one, the only other way you can be out is if you hit it, it comes off a umpire or a player and it hits the stumps, then you can be out, and it's either a judged, I think it's a judge run out. So technically that's the other way you can get out. But yes, in other words, the no ball ruling will stand. But I think what is next on our agenda? I think we have to start looking at some of these other videos that we do have from the weekend, because as we've found with most games, there are certainly some entertaining times that happen.
No, it's just Tomo's.
Just Tomo 6. Just Tomo 6 with Tomo 6 is very entertaining, but the bit that we're talking about isn't actually Tomo 6. It's what's happening at the umpire's end. Because if we take a close look at Mr. Dan Komeski, he's doing some form of arm aerobics that I've not seen for a while. But I do have to say the very sly smirk on his face was also quite entertaining as he admired the shot that cleared over the fence and went down the road.
Right, already?
All right, let's have a look.
Oh, man.
It's an absolutely brilliant shot, and I think he's almost forgotten to signal the 6 there because he's watching and admiring so much, and it's, we better put it up, and yes, it's a no ball as well, so we're just going to do some arm exercises at the same time. And I'll just make a side note, we're not making fun of you, we're all laughing with you, it's all very entertaining, everyone makes a fool of themselves on the cricket field. And let's face it, and as Cam said, especially him, we're never going to make the Black Caps anytime soon. So we
might.
Well, you never know. We might.
What's the score, Cam?
At the state of our current batting lineup, I think it's certainly.
Anyone who wants to slot in at number 4 is welcome.
Yeah, well, how about it, Dan Squire? You've always wanted a quick tour to Bangladesh to bat for the last 2 days for the Black Caps test, because they probably need someone to dig in with that now. But I think in terms of topics to cover, I think that's almost it. In terms of, that's it. I think we will have a look, as well as I think Cam does have the lineups handy for this week. Oh, actually, before we do that, does Mr. Camro want to cover off LMS on Thursday night, considering he was there? Oh, he's good. He doesn't want to talk about his cheeky 32 off bugger all balls, or Zano's 51 off. I can't even remember. He got a cheeky 50 off 30. Whoa, what on earth are you doing, Mr. Camro?
He's just fixing the camera.
He's just fixing the camera.
It's all going to shit today.
Oh, go on, Cam. You like talking yourself up. You should give a quick rundown of what happened at LMS on Thursday night.
All right, hang on.
Okay. He'll come in because he'll give us an extra segment, and then we'll talk about upcoming matches this week. As he blocks out the camera. Oh yeah, go on. Yeah, down. Okay, you sit down. All right, go on, Cam.
Right, yeah, I was just middling everything. two absolutely massive sixes. Absolutely just disgustingly massive sixes. Yeah, a few decent, top edges for 4 over the keeper.
Okay, apart from your very edgy innings, do you want to talk about anyone else?
No, stop me talking about my innings. Nah, Zippy's innings was pretty good. I was watching at Square League. Also got a couple of cheeky edges for 4. But he's played some absolutely brilliant shots. Awesome to watch from the other end. I think I was on strike. I was on non-strikers by that time he got himself in and was striking nicely. It was good to watch. Made me run a 2, the bastard.
Got to keep that fitness up, Ken.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to keep that fitness up.
Bowling didn't look too enticing. Looking at the scorecard, although it did
they
look
batted
like
well. I mean,
yeah.
one of the dudes literally stepped across the stumps and hooked the shit out of it and just absolutely smacked it for 6, about 3 or 4 times. So,
yeah, it did look like they were teeing off quite a bit. Also, looking at the scorecard, we won't talk about JC's innings. I don't think he'll be very happy with that.
Yeah, I
with
should
that.
have got to upload the
0.
Oh,
2.
bold second ball.
Yeah, I as I say, I don't think he'll be happy because it's his first duck for a while. I haven't seen him get a duck in the last couple of years, so especially when he's averaging over 50 at the moment in Saturday games. 0 off 2, I know he's certainly not happy with.
Nah, he's better than that. But it was just unlucky, and it was Richie, old Satchty, was old bastard. Old mate Richie.
So, unfortunately, I don't think LMS has had a win yet, have they? I think it's...
We've had one, I think, or was it a draw?
I think there was a draw, and I
Yeah.
think there's been a couple of games where we probably should have won and just let it get away a little bit from...
You know what though, like, it's been fucking fun.
Oh, well, that's the whole point of LMS. It's
Yeah,
sort of...
it's
It's
really
basically
good fun.
shits and bash, isn't it?
Pretty
So
much.
it's a bash and giggle. So you
Well,
just
it
go
suits me
along...
perfectly.
Yeah, well, you just go along and throw your hands at every ball and hope that you get a wicket. But that's the whole point of LMS, isn't it?
Pretty
So,
much.
so
Good
really
fun.
the results don't matter. It's just to have a run around on a Thursday and
Pretty
just
much.
play cricket.
Right, I'm done here.
All right, he's done. All right, get out.
Anyway.
All right, we'll bring Vorney back in and let's have a look at the lineups. Cam's been warming the seat up. That's
Yeah, sweaty bum.
all right. Okay, calm down. All right. So what have we got?
first?
Oh, you put
Got
one up on the
Waira,
screen. We've got Waira. All righty.
Oh, the audio went off. There we go.
Oh, you've turned our audio off.
That's
Oh,
better now.
oh good. Okay. Another good-looking lineup here. I love how there's 2 12th mans instead of a 12 and 13, but that's all right. Another.
I mean, one's there for the legs because
Well, that's true. You've got to have a top.
one's lost a hammy.
That's true.
No,
You-
I think he's
Oh, yeah, well, he was batting. He was not because he wasn't here this week, but previously, like the week before, Dan was looking pretty good. He was a little bit tentative, I will say, because we don't want to blow it out properly. But you do have to have a top and a bottom, right?
That is how I like it.
But another good lineup there. So I think it should make for a very, very good game. I mean, the Ladybirds, I haven't really looked at the table, but I think they're having a bit of a hit and miss season. So, hey, look, it could be another good one for a win. So let's hope it is a win. So then certainly a lineup that definitely is there.
It's stacked both ends.
Oh, it
Looking
definitely
at
is.
on
Yeah, moving on to Toa. Game number 2 for Zane. And again, another very, very stacked lineup. Dan there slotting himself into 12th man to give JC a run after his little niggle as well, as I know he's very keen to get going again, considering again on Saturday, even though Wednesday, training, even though the wind was blowing from the other end, he still made a good go of trying to put balls over the top of Kiwi Laminates again. So I think he is well and truly going to be back in form. I don't think he's really lost form at all. Old Tomo picking up the captain's role for his second match this week. And then again, just another stacked team that will, I think, ultimately be a very strong one for the Royal Blues, aka the Pitchers. This is a top of the table clash, 1 and 2 clash. So even though if the Royal Blues do win, it will make them on equal points with Toa. So it won't affect Toa's top of the table status unless the run rate gets a little bit out of hand. So Toa should hopefully, regardless of the result, hold on to top spot going into next week for the final week
of this half of the season. So, did we have an LMS lineup for this week coming, or we're still waiting on that?
I've got the one from
last week.
this week.
No, that's all right. That's all
They're
right.
only Fall short.
I think they are 4 short at the moment. So again, as I'll pitch the praises of Jimbo, come and play LMS. LMS is great fun. So
I don't know. Usually, whenever I see him after LMS, he's not talking a good game.
well, it's interesting because every single Wednesday he's talking it up. He's telling everyone to come and play LMS. So I don't know. He doesn't seem to want to choose. But yeah, if anybody wants to play LMS, they are still 4 short. So if you want to put your hand up and have a run around on a Thursday in preparation for Saturday, do that. I'm probably due an LMS game at some point, but I will certainly make time for that at some point in the future.
5:40.
Yeah, some of us work in the morning.
Yeah, and forget to feed the cats apparently. Well, I think that just about wraps us up for this week of
Does it?
What's
of Between Two Taniwha. What is the time, Cam Rowe? Is it
20 to 9.
Oh, so we've got 40 minutes until the big bash starts. Okay.
let's put the black caps up then.
Put the black caps up. Well, I will also
a judge where they are. We can't put it on the screen for
for copyright reasons. No, exactly. But I will just say in closing as well, to all the guys out there, we are one big family. And I know it was a very good discussion on the chat the other night, and I know there's a few guys out there that are struggling, and certainly if you are going through your struggles, just know that you're not alone. We're all here to listen, to help. We're not going to judge you. It's a safe space, and please do talk about it, because I know as guys it is very hard to talk about these things. It certainly is for myself. And just talk because just know you're not alone, and we're all here for you. Have you lost our audio again, Cam? Well, I'm trying to have a very very deep and meaningful moment over here.
What did I need?
If you remembered it. Start from the top.
Oh, I have to start from the top again, do I?
No, just cut it out.
It just cut out. Oh, are we back on now?
No.
Oh, did the stream cut out? Or did the audio cut out?
Yeah.
Oh. This is supposed to be professional, everybody, and this was supposed
Nothing's
to.
coming through.
He was all. Is it still not
wait,
coming
here
through?
we go.
Oh,
I think it might just be my yeah,
oh, this is supposed. It's just okay.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, I think. Wait, did that help?
Did that help? Did that? Oh.
It's coming through on the stream.
It's coming through on the stream. That's all that matters. Okay, so whilst this was supposed to be the professional week and we were supposed to all go smoothly, it's all kind of just fallen apart a wee bit. But I will finish off in saying, look, you are not alone. Please do talk to anybody. We will all listen. Yeah, just please remember that we do care, and that we're not just going to tell you to piss off. So. Yeah, in saying that, that'll wrap us up for Taniwha, Between Two Taniwha, I was about to say Taniwha TV, but Between Two Taniwha episode number 3, and we will be back next week with some more enticing action from the week, some potential other topics that we'll cover off, and please, look, if there is anything you guys would like us to cover off, it doesn't have to be cricket related, it could be funny, it can be serious, it can be anything, we can talk about it more in depth. And just so you know, because this is a podcast about all of us, not just Chris and I and Cam. So tell us what you'd like to hear, and we'll see you all again next week. I added that back then on the fly for